Thanks for tuning in to the Urban School Podcast. Today I'm back with women's college basketball news. Um, they just released a recent top 16 reveal, a projected top 16 reveal for the women's college basketball March Madness tournament that's coming up. And that's if the tournament started today. But of course, there's conference championships, still conference tournaments still to go. And also, there's still regular season games to go. So a lot of things can change by then and probably will change. But I just want to run through the list that they put out. In the Spokane region, the number one seeds are UCLA and Notre Dame, well deserved. Number two seeds are LSU and USC, well deserved as well. All of these are well deserved, by the way. In the Spokane region, the third seeds are Duke and Kansas State. And in the Spokane region, the fourth seeds are Tennessee and Kentucky, two SEC teams. And then in the Birmingham bracket, the number one seeds are South Carolina and Texas. And then the two seeds are North Carolina State and UConn. The third seeds are North Carolina and TCU. And the fourth seeds are Oklahoma and Ohio State. So all of these are very well deserved. And I want to talk a little bit about these teams and about the road that they might have ahead as far as difficulties and things like that they have to work on. Briefly, so UCLA, of course, was the top overall seed. They have the best record right now, but I think Notre Dame will challenge this. Watching Notre Dame the other night play Duke, their defensive end as well as their offensive end is going to be problems for any team. They might be a little undersized, but they can get up and down the court. They can defend at a high level, and they're well coached. You can tell from just their play on the court. Now, when we think about South Carolina, they're coming off that big loss to UConn. Now, AZ Fudd, she was hunting her shot like Elmer Fudd out there. She was 6 to 10 for the three-pointer. She had 30-plus points. She was very dominant. She was shooting threes on fast breaks. It was something I hadn't seen before. And I always questioned why AZ Fudd was, a top pick, but then she's put on full display. She came off an injury last year, so she didn't play much of last year. But this year, she's showing why she should be one of those top picks. And it's going to be very interesting to see those WNBA draft picks coming up. I'm excited for that one. Following the conclusion of March Madness, it's right after that. So it's going to be fresh on our minds once that tournament ends. But Notre Dame and Texas were the other projected number one seeds. Like I said, I talked about Notre Dame and the depth that they have, and I think they will have an easier road in the tournament at least from the conference championships, because they don't have to face the teams that the other teams have to face in the stacked brackets when it comes to the Big Ten and SEC. Notre Dame, it won't be easy, but it won't be difficult as those other teams that like a LSU and like a USC have to go through in UCLA. But also I want to talk about how I project that, they would have a number one seed, Notre Dame, before it's all over and done, because they're on this 18-game winning streak, and they haven't lost since December 5th. And they lost to Utah, and they lost to TCU back-to-back, and they haven't lost ever since. So when they had that 2-game losing streak, it looked pretty bad, but they won this 18-game run, and they have been dominant since then. When you think about the dominance of Hannah Hidalgo, you think about Citron, what she has to offer, as well as Olivia Miles, manning that point guard position and being able to distribute for the team, as well as their other ancillary pieces that they bring. And like I said, that coaching is very good as well. Now, I think when you think about LSU, I think they will need to win the conference, the SEC, or go to the championship, which I think they will. I think it'll be bumpy, but I think they can do it. That play of Anissa Morrow, I'm a big fan of her rebounding, and if she can find a way to increase her scoring and get more baskets, I think it'll bode well for the team. Now, if she gets those get those offensive rebounds and get those putbacks, that'll go a long way for the team and for their before the success of their team. But they will need more scoring from her. But Michaela Williams and, of course, Flau'jae Johnson, they're going to contribute as well. There's going to be a lot of shots they're going to need to be effective because I think they're volume scorers. When you think about Michaela Williams, her ability to score without a pick and roll or a dribble. She has that presence where she can just pull up and shoot from anywhere and be efficient at it. But I think a person like Flau'jae needs a little bit need more reps because she does play a lot of defense and it's tiresome sometimes on the legs. So I think she does need those reps and easier points like the layups and fast break points and things like that. But her defense goes a little bit underrated, especially in this recent past month. South Carolina, I think they've been the most vulnerable that they've been in years, simply because they lost about 3 games already. Over the past couple of years, they lost 3 games in probably 3 years, and they've been pretty dominant. But without the loss of Camila Cardosa, I think that affected them a lot. And not having that solid post presence, they're a little undersized in the post, and they have younger players in the post as well. So I think that's kind of affecting their games. But if they can find more reps for Pow Pow to be able to shoot from the outside and get open shots, because she can't really create her own shot, she needs more open shots and shots off of screens and pin downs and things like that. But if you can find a way to get her more shots, it'll go a long way for the game. And we know Raven Johnson's not a scorer. She's more of a defender. But if Raven Johnson can figure out a way to accumulate more points, similar to LSU's Anissa Morrow, if she can find a way to get those points, it's going to be bodes well for the team and the success of the team. Now, another sleeper that I have in this tournament is Texas's Madison Booker. Now, I know she plays the same school as Kevin Durant, but she has a similar skill set. She's one of the bigger players or taller players on the court, but she dribbles well and has a good handle and also can get her shot off. But I think she needs that volume. She needs volume when it comes to shots as well, because the more shots she gets, the better she gets. And I think she's very effective in the post as well and being able to be an underrated defender. But I think she has to step up her defense a little bit more in this tournament to prove well, because I think the tournament should come down, the SEC tournament should come down to Texas and LSU, and it'll be interesting to see. I don't think Texas has the depth that LSU has, but it'll be interesting to see what their starters can produce. And they both have some scores that could work on scoring more, so it's going to come down to more of a defensive battle. So, but nevertheless, the SEC tournament is going to be very good to watch. Spokane, if the true projections come true, Spokane has the toughest projected bracket. When you have USC, UCLA, Notre Dame, and LSU all in one bracket, that's a lot of star power, a lot of depth, a lot of good matchups, and it'll make a lot of great basketball for us basketball fans and fans alike. So that's going to be definitely a bracket to look at if it does come true, those projections. Now, this is just the first projections. Like I said, there are a lot of different variables, whether it be the regular season games that's left and also the conference championships before you get to that March Madness tournament in March. But USC still has to play UCLA, and then other teams have like 3 or 4 games left. So it's still a lot of basketball to be played, a lot of different things that can go awry or can get better for these teams. And then we all also know that those matchups are key. So every game that you can win, you can put yourself in a more favorable position. But the depth is so amazing this year that it might not even guarantee you a better spot. It might put you in a difficult spot if another team slacks down as far as winning goes and falls in the rankings and you fall to them. So pretty much any team on this list can be effective or be a headache for any team. Now, Oklahoma, I talked about them before, very physical team. They have the shooter, Peyton Verhulst, who can get her shot off of screens, and she's very Steph Curry-like. But they have a very physical front court, and they're going to be a problem to deal with. And they can score as well as defend, and they're big bodies in the paint. So you're going to have to deal with that Oklahoma team. I wouldn't want to see that team, at least into the later rounds. They're going to tire you out for the other teams. But, you have to watch out with the Oklahoma team, and I think you have to spread your offense out and, make them work on the defensive end in order to tire them out on the offensive end, because if you don't, you'll run into problems. But right now, I think Notre Dame should be the favorite. UCLA is coming off that loss from USC, kind of bring them down a notch. But I think with the depth that Notre Dame has and that camaraderie, and like I said, they're very well coached. South Carolina is well coached as well, so I never fall asleep on South Carolina. But I do think that the offensive and defensive prowess that Notre Dame has will be a problem for most teams, especially South Carolina. Like I said, this is the most vulnerable that they've been in years, and they really don't have offensive players, and their defense is not that good as well. But their coaching outshines all of that just from the strategy of it all. But I think, it just will come with time because they have a lot of youth right now, and they lost Cardoso, and they lost a couple other players that's starting to show on both sides on the ball right now. But like I said, I'm never counting out South Carolina, but my pick right now is Notre Dame until further notice. But I'll reevaluate this once the actual bracket comes out and after the conference championships, and then I'll reevaluate it at that time. But thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope podcast. And until next time, see you next time.